Welcome inside this week opening edition of Big Ten Today, presented by Gatorade. Rick Pizzo, Howard Griffith, on the heels of NFL Draft Weekend. And as of right now, Howard, all 32 NFL teams truly believe they had the best draft of any team in the league.
They got their guy. They're going to the Super Bowl. Everybody's really excited about the young people they were able to bring into their organizations this past weekend.
There is no question the Big Ten showed up and showed out throughout the course of the entire weekend. It is our big story as we look at the impact that the Big Ten had on the draft this weekend in Pittsburgh. 10 players from the Big Ten taken in the first round, by far the most of any conference, including the first overall pick, Fernando Mendoza, who became the first Big Ten quarterback to go number one since 1990. The Buckeyes dominated as expected. 3 of the first 7, 4 of the first 11 selections coming from Columbus. Indiana, on the heels of its national championship season, would see a program record 8 players selected. Howard, I don't think that any of these numbers are huge surprises based on the years that Indiana, Ohio State, and the Big Ten as a whole enjoyed in 2025.
And I think one of the things that's probably overlooked a little bit is just what a great and outstanding coaching job these coaches in the Big Ten are doing at this particular point. They're recruiting at a high level, but they're also developing these young players into players that are going to not only be dominant on Saturdays, but have the opportunity to go on and play at the National Football League. And it's showing up the last couple of years.
I mean, you look at Ohio State specifically for an example of a guy like Carnell Tate, who headed into last year highly thought of, but certainly not thought of as a top 5 pick in the draft. But they develop, they take that talent, they make them even better. And NFL teams look at players like Tate and others that we'll discuss and say they are NFL ready. And perhaps no player is more NFL ready than Heisman Trophy winner, national championship quarterback Fernando Mendoza, who, as expected, went number 1 to the Las Vegas Raiders. He is expected to step in and be the starter on opening day.
You know, they expect it, but they have some options there, right? You talk about having Kirk Cousins there to be able to mentor him and be able to allow him to develop slowly if that's the decision and the way they'd like to go. But I think I love the situation where he's not in a situation where he has to necessarily start week 1.
Well, and nobody expects the Raiders to win this year.
Yes. He has an opportunity to come in, I think, and really develop and learn how to be a pro. He does all the right things, says all the right things, works the right way, but there's still a learning curve that he has the opportunity to really get involved in, and that'll start probably today for him as he's been at the facilities meeting everyone. But I like the fact that Kirk Cousins is there with a veteran guy that can mentor him and help him develop into the guy, and maybe he won't have to play just right away.
And let's be honest, the Raiders are going to have to make some decisions because if you're banged up on the offensive line, the one thing you do not want to do is put your number 1 overall pick in harm's way. You want him to gain experience, but you need him to gain experience without getting beaten up.
And the key to that, Rick, when you think about it, it's because you develop bad habits. When you don't have a stable offensive line, you're scrambling around, you're not going through your reads. So you start to create, that clock goes off in your head a little too fast, and you start to create bad habits that when you get into your second, your third year, they're hard to get those coached out of them. So to be able to ease him into this situation is going to be a benefit for the Raiders.
How about 8 Indiana players taken in the 2026 NFL draft? We've spoken at length about what Curt Cignetti has accomplished in 2 years, including bringing a national championship back to Bloomington, which no one in their right minds would have thought possible when he arrived as the head coach prior to the 2024 season. But, Howard, it's not just about a guy like Mendoza. You look at Omar Cooper getting drafted, going up those draft boards. You look at Kaelon Black going as a running back in the 3rd round. D'Angelo Ponce, who I think is going to be one of the steals of this draft in round number 2. Cignetti, just like Ryan Day at Ohio State, just like other coaches, brought these players in, but then improved their draft stock by developing them and turning them into complete football players.
Really outstanding job. And you think about those frontline guys, the guys that were able to go on day 1, day 2. But I throw Aiden Fisher into that because he is such a guy who understands the game. He's going to be an outstanding special teams player early in his career, and he's going to be one of those guys that's going to have an opportunity to really continue to have a long career in the NFL, because once he gets on the field and he finds a way to get on the field, he ain't getting off the field. I mean, he's that type of player. And yes, there are going to be some guys that are faster, which is why he was drafted when he was. But when you talk about the IQ of that young man and his ability to lead, I think he's going to have a great NFL future.
Locker room guy is a term we probably throw around too often. You and I both had the opportunity to interview him and chat with him, spend some time with him over the course of the year. A true locker room guy.
Yeah.
He gets it. That's why he was able to do what he was able to do at that size and speed, and to have the complete and total respect of his teammates. That won't change in the NFL. I don't think the Ohio State production is going to change much at the next level either. The one surprise was that Carnell Tate went ahead of Arvell Reese and Sonny Styles and Caleb Downs. The defensive players were expected to go first, but obviously Tennessee liked what they saw in terms of Tate trying to give Cam Ward a little bit of help. But then you back it up, Arvell Reese goes 5, Sonny Styles goes 7, Caleb Downs goes 11. Dallas got really lucky, I think, that Downs fell that fast. I mean, this just speaks to the haul that Ryan Day and this Ohio State staff are able to bring in each and every year, whether it be through traditional recruiting or through the transfer portal, as they did with Caleb Downs.
And you mentioned when we were talking about Indiana developing players. Well, the same thing happens at Ohio State when you watch these talented young men also get developed. And we watch that happen on the defensive side, and they just continue to get better, putting them in situations where they can really play at a high level, and getting that experience is outstanding. When you have guys that are talented, really talented, are gonna, measure off the charts with athleticism, and then they're still hungry and trying to get better, and you're, as a coaching staff, able to press the right buttons, because the game can get boring when you're that talented. But these guys put these players in position to really stay engaged in the game, and I think that really has bode well for them.
Arvell Reese is going to be interesting to me, because do the Giants decide to put him at linebacker? Do they have him as an edge rusher? New York has gone heavy, the defensive line and linebacker, in their last couple of drafts, so that's interesting. To me, Caleb Downs is the guy in this group, especially going where he's going. The Cowboys really struggled defensively last year. He is a no doubt day one starter, and I think he steps on the field, and he may be Dallas's most important player on defense the second that he starts playing.
Reminds me a lot of Darren Woodson when he played there, a guy that was
Great
a consummate
comparison.
pro, always going to be in the right spot at the right time, and also going to be able to motivate other people on the field. This is what he brings to the table. That's why Dallas went up to get him, because they weren't in that spot. They had to trade up to get an opportunity to take downs, and he's going to be a guy that's going to be there for a long time, an instant leader, a guy that understands the game, a football background in his family. This guy is going to have a great career. He just understands what the game is all about.